Hey there. If you've ever stared down at your dog's health checkup results, feeling that sudden drop in your stomach because of all the confusing medical jargon and numbers, well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to calmly and carefully unpack a really crucial, kind of hidden warning that can pop up in your dog's blood work. It's called erythrocytosis, which is basically just a fancy word for a high red blood cell count. Take a deep breath with me here, okay? Because understanding this is exactly what gives you the power to protect your furry family member.
You know, I hear this exact thing all the time. My 7-year-old dog acts perfectly fine, but the red blood cell count came back slightly high. Is it just a temporary thing? And honestly, I know a lot of you watching right now are probably nodding along. When your pup looks and acts completely healthy on the outside, it is so natural to feel totally confused by a weird lab result. We all want to just hope it's a minor passing issue, right? I want to validate that worry for you right now. Your concern is absolutely justified, and the fact you're asking questions is literally the best thing you can do for them.
Okay, so let's really dive into this. The ages between 7 and 9, that's a very specific and absolutely crucial time. It's the early senior phase for our dogs. And during this specific window, these invisible, microscopic cellular changes start happening deep inside their bodies. Because of this, when we see an unexplained shift in their test results, even if there are zero outward signs of illness, it carries a much deeper significance than it would have back when they were a bouncing puppy.
So, let's get into part 1, myth versus truth when it comes to erythrocytosis. We need to gently correct a few really common misconceptions about these high red blood cell counts. By knowing the actual truth here, you're taking a massive step toward catching potential health issues way before they ever become visible. Now, it's super common to assume that a high red blood cell count just means, your dog didn't drink enough water, making their blood a bit thick, or maybe it's just a temporary lack of oxygen. But from a functional oncology standpoint, the biological reality is actually totally different. This unexplained spike is really a sharp biological siren. It's a warning of an explosive potential for cancer developing somewhere in the body. I know, the word cancer is terrifying, but I'm emphasizing this not to make you panic, but because catching this early warning system is a huge, empowering advantage for you.
All right, part 2, the kidney's illusion and hormones. We're going to look at the actual gears turning behind this anomaly, and I promise, we're taking it step by step so the science is totally easy to follow. First, let's demystify a key term here, erythropoietin, or let's just call it EPO for short. EPO is simply a hormone secreted by the kidneys. Its main gig is to act like a messenger, signaling the bone marrow to pump out more red blood cells when the body needs them. So here's the absolute crucial takeaway. The root of the problem isn't actually the blood itself. The whole chain reaction starts with this specific hormone being released by the kidneys.
Let's walk right through exactly how this physiological mix-up happens. Step 1. Some sort of unknown metabolic disturbance happens in your dog's body. Step 2. This disturbance causes the kidney, specifically these tiny tubules inside it, to get totally confused. It misjudges the state of the blood, incorrectly thinking the body is anemic or starved for oxygen, even when it's completely fine. Then, step 3, because of this illusion, the kidney kind of panics and releases a massive abnormal flood of that EPO hormone into the bloodstream. And finally, step 4, the bone marrow gets all these EPO signals and just goes into overdrive, overproducing red blood cells. So basically, it's just a well-meaning organ making a really critical mistake.
Moving on to part 3, fertilizer that grows cancer.
Now, I want you to stay calm and just stay with me here. Really understanding this mechanism is incredibly empowering because it shows us exactly what we're up against. Here is a pretty shocking biological truth. Cancer cells are actually covered in countless EPO receptors. Remember that huge flood of EPO hormone the confused kidney just dumped out? Well, these little receptors on the surface of mutated cancer cells, they act exactly like biological magnets, just pulling in all that excess hormone floating around in your dog's bloodstream.
And that excess EPO empowers the disease in 3 major ways. First off, it acts as a survival helper, which allows early cancer cells to resist being attacked by your dog's normal, healthy immune cells. Second, it flips this explosive growth switch for these microscopic cancer cells. Essentially, it functions as the absolute most powerful biological fertilizer for tumors. So the kidney's well-meaning hormone surge accidentally creates the perfect, nutrient-rich biological greenhouse for mutated cells to just thrive.
Which brings us to part 4, the life-saving warning light.
Let's reframe this whole thing right now. I want you to totally shift gears from feeling fearful to feeling prepared. Because knowing about this hidden connection gives you a massive, life-saving advantage that most people simply do not have. When a dog reaches that 7 to 9 year mark, the aging process naturally increases their daily cellular mutations. That is just a normal part of life. Usually, a healthy immune system just sweeps those mutated cells away like it's nothing. But that high EPO environment, that is the trigger. When you mix natural aging mutations with a giant flood of biological fertilizer, that high EPO we talked about, it actively blocks the immune system from doing its normal cleanup job.
This leads us to a really powerful conclusion from functional oncology experts. This is not a benign physiological response. It is a broken signal and a terrifying warning light. We really need to take this strong language to heart, but do it with a calm, focused mindset. Brushing off a high red blood cell count as just, oh, they need a little more water, or it's just a lack of oxygen, is super risky. It's a broken signal that we have to bravely address.
So that leaves us with one final, incredibly vital question. When you see that slightly elevated red blood cell count on the checkup paper, is it just concentrated blood? Or is it the final golden window of time to save your dog? By understanding that this is actually a biological siren, you aren't in the dark anymore. You are equipped, you're vigilant, and you're proactive. Please don't let this warning light flash in vain. Use this knowledge to have a deeper, much more urgent conversation with your vet. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. And just remember, your knowledge is absolutely the greatest tool you have to protect your best friend.